Brutal survival. Yeah, go shrapnel axis. Shrapnel axis is fun. Yeah, we already have a range. How'd that guy survive? That was weird. Shrapnel X is good. Early legendary? I guess. Wow. Stun grenade. Alright. Yeah, we'll do it like that. Ooh. Nah, stick with point blank. Bad setup. Stupid protector. Still alive? Cursed chest anyway, wow. Rare. Actually, yeah. And it was a good... Whoa, jeez. It was a good thing I saved those enemies back at the beginning, too. Anathema? I'll just backpack it for now. Probably won't end up using it. Cross as an offhand, and then anathema. I'm gonna have to change the mutation. Tranquility, I guess. Damned vigor. There we go. Keep changing after I had already launched my attack. I want to let them change. Come on. Nice. All right. Jeez. Fast. I was looking at the other guy. Can't even use anathema that much. It's an explosive. Hits multiple people, but nobody's clustering up. Wow. Something. And it's a mimic. Pretty good. We need more oil though. I'll have to switch out cross for, well, something. Other than that, we're pretty set up. Yeah, I'll eat this. Support? No, we're alright on damage. Go No Mercy. I don't want to deal with the last 7% death health. Then he goes berserk and spastic and it's really annoying. Just like every boss. No Mercy fixes that. Spartan sandals? Well, we do have tranquility. Nice. Another legendary pirate captain. Oh, that sucks. Maybe we do. We're sitting pretty with money. Slow and fat. There's our chance. And a lot of health. Didn't kill him outright. Wow. That's crazy. You see that? He jumped out of the air. He has his own double jump. That was cool. Where'd that guy come from? Jeez. Look down for 1 second. All the bats exploded. Feels like that wasn't a whole lot of money for killing a gold gorger. You a mimic? Oh, nice. That's weird. Did you see that animation on the gold gorger? I never seen that before. High-level cudgel. Sure. Well, we got money. We'll go full on damage, point blank, and support. Really, it doesn't matter. What other legendary do we get this time? Double legendary boot door. Yeah, I will take it actually. Tesla coil. And we could use them in tandem. 10 second, so's the door. A second door, 2 doors. So the other day I went to the town over, and there's a parlor hobby store. Not like tabletop, but, you know, like, oh, jeez. Why can't I hit that guy? It's demons. My guy can't aim. I don't want to take care of this guy. Like that. Alright. So, you know, it's a store that sells billiard stuff and jukeboxes. Whoops. Things like that for parlor. And I befriended the old timer there who runs it, and I go to him for all my billiards needs. And whenever I go, which is usually like maybe 2 or 3 times a year, we always stop and talk for a bit. Usually about music or just old stuff. Old billiards greats, old music. Things like that. Another sore loser. I sent that guy into hell. Already, that's the malaise cleared. We're talking about old music, billiards. And while we're talking about that, he brings up a billiard parlor that used to be in my own town, but that was decades ago. It closed when I was young, so I never had the pleasure of playing there. But he was telling me about it, and he was friends with the owner. Another legendary. I kind of want this for the boss. Yeah, that'll suit better than the sandals. Yeah, I'll switch it out when we fight Hand of the King. So he's telling me about the old parlor and how he was buds with the guy who owned it. You know, we're in the middle of talking about it. I'm sitting on one end of his desk. He's at the other. And, you know, he's got all this random crap, papers on his desk. There's a cup of pencils and pens, like right in the center. There. Alright. That's how to deal with sore losers. So, you know, he has this plushie that's at the very top of like a very long pen, so it juts way higher than all the rest of the stuff in the cup. And he's, you know, I was just sitting there, and then that's it. I'm not thinking much of it. We're in the middle of talking. He's telling me about that owner of the billiard place, like from my town, and then the little plushie just falls over. Like it falls off the pen and into the cup. I don't think much of it. But I look at it, and then I like point and smile at it. It's like, what was that about? I look up at the man, and his face has just gone white, like completely white. So I return the faces like before I could even say anything. You know, like, oh, what's going on, or why do you look like that? Darn. And then he says, you know, with his face all white. More sore losers, jeez. We don't want to fight that guy yet. So with his face all white, he says, he's like, ah, jeez, come on. So when his face is all white, and then he finally says, "Oh, he's here with us now." And then he like looks up, "Hi, John." It's like how you doing? And then that was it. And then he continues trying to talk to me about, whatever else we were talking about, old billiard stuff. But now at that point, like he's a little frazzled and shaken. At one point he even said, he's like, "Oh, I got chills." Holds up his arm. He's got goosebumps all over. He's like, "Oh, all right." Didn't make it clear to me until after, or after he said that. It was like, oh, the reason he closed down the shop was because he died. Little ghost story that I was not aware that I was going to be a part of. Jeez. I was not expecting him to do that. I thought he was going to do his super telluric. This thing. Well, that's as good as we could have hoped. Good. Speaking of old people, I went and got my hair cut too the other day, and my old crotchety barber, who I talked about before, so my visit to him 3 visits ago, which was I guess that was last year already. The last 2 visits we talked about Statham, the Jason Statham movies. Before that, he and I were also talking about music, just all old music. He was telling me that his favorite artist was a writer called John Brandt. I remembered that because in the moment I thought his name sounded familiar, but I couldn't place it, so I didn't say anything. But I took note of that. It was like John Brandt. That's what he said. I remember. And then, after a bit of me leaving, it finally hit me. It was like, oh, like I know who that is. Oh. Yeah, have fun with that. Yeah, I'll eat that. I have a song by him. Well, not by him, but he helped write it and make it that I like. So there's an 80s group called Big Country. They're a Scottish group, I think. But here in the States, their one big hit was called In a Big Country from like 1985 or something like that. But I've gone through their entire discography, and they had this one song called 1,000 Stars. The version they released, I didn't much care for, didn't leave an impression on me. But when going through their discography, I found that they had 1 or 2 unreleased versions of it. One of them was a John Brandt demo. They had writer John Brandt help write some of the music for it, and that version of the song I really liked. I was very excited to tell my barber about it. It was like, oh hey, this is who you were talking about. I have a song by them that I like. That's not what I wanted at all. Jeez. Yeah, I'll eat that. Also buy this. So I was very excited to tell him about that. He's like, oh, I knew who you were talking about after all. I have a song by him. It's called 1,000 Stars, parenthesis, John Brandt demo by Big Country. And the last two visits, we talked about Jason Statham movies, so I was never able to bring it up. But this time around, he was kind of quiet. All the old folks who showed up before me didn't, like, they weren't talking, so he wasn't saying anything. So then when I get up, and I start talking to him, and then he, you know, starts chatterboxing. And I bring that up. It's like, oh, hey, so I remembered that you told me your favorite artist was John Brandt, right? And he just looks at me, you know, like in the mirror while he's cutting my hair. He's like, who? I was like, I don't know who that is. I never said that.
Never heard of it. Hold tight.
I let it slide. But on the inside, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, we had this conversation. And then after a minute, he finally... Okay. Jeez. These librarians are too fast. Where'd that guy come from? That was a jump scare. So after a second, it finally dawns on him. And he's like, oh. No, I said my favorite artist was John Baltry. And, you know, I don't say anything, but I'm just thinking, he's like, that is not what you told me. Like John Baldry, Long John Baldry from the 60s. Is that it? You were not talking about that. I remembered you said the name John Brandt, and that's why I remembered it. Old man, dementia riddled. I remember too. Like I said, I took special note of the name because I thought it sounded familiar. John Brandt. There's no way I misheard him the first time around. That is not who I wanted to get the attention of. Well, I guess that helps. Active hitboxes on that thing. It's not fair. How annoying.